I never imagined I'd become the kind of man who says goodbye through a letter instead of looking someone in the eye. But after finding out about my wife's secret dinner date, I realized that silence can sometimes speak louder than words. My name is Ethan, I'm 34, and this is how a single restaurant booking shattered my marriage. It began on what seemed like a normal Tuesday. Everything looked the same. I made coffee, kissed Claire before leaving for work, and she smiled the way she always did. But that morning, something about her felt off. There was a distance in her eyes, a quiet withdrawal that had been growing for months. I'd seen small signs, the kind you try to dismiss because admitting them would make them real. Her late nights were suddenly team dinners. Her phone, once left on counters or couches, was now always in her hand. She started wearing perfume just to run errands. I asked her once if something was wrong. She smiled softly and said, "Of course not. Why would there be?" That practiced calm should have been my warning. Then, about a week before everything fell apart, I saw something that confirmed my worst fear. Claire was in the shower when her phone lit up. I don't usually touch her things, but that morning, instinct took over. A message flashed on the screen from someone saved simply as M. It read, "Can't wait to see you Friday. Same place." My chest went cold. I scrolled up just a bit, enough to see flirtatious, intimate messages. There was no misunderstanding what I saw. I stood there, heart racing, barely hearing the sound of running water. When she came out, I smiled like nothing had changed. I kissed her cheek, went to work, and pretended my world wasn't collapsing. I didn't get any work done that day. My mind was fixed on Friday. Her calendar listed a client meeting, at the same restaurant mentioned in the texts. That's when I decided how this would end. I wouldn't shout or beg. I'd let her feel the quiet devastation she'd given me. When Friday came, I left work early and drove to the restaurant. I didn't confront her there. Instead, I slipped a waiter an envelope and a $100 bill, asking him to deliver it to the woman named Claire at table 16 when she was halfway through her meal. Inside the envelope was my goodbye letter. He looked uncertain, but the money convinced him. I walked out before she arrived. That night, I checked into a cheap hotel on the other side of town. I sat alone in the dark, imagining how she'd react: shock, denial, maybe even regret. My phone buzzed again and again, but I couldn't bring myself to look. The next morning, I finally opened her messages. The first read, "Ethan, what is this?" Then came, "You're overreacting." Then, "Please call me. I can explain." But there was nothing left to explain. 3 hours later, she showed up at the hotel lobby. Her face was pale, her hair pulled back, eyes red and tired. When she saw me, tears filled her eyes. "Ethan, please," she whispered. "It's not what you think." I almost laughed, not because it was funny, but because that line was so painfully predictable. I looked at the woman I'd spent 8 years building a life with and said quietly, "Then tell me what it was." Her voice shook. "It was just one dinner. I swear. I just needed to feel seen again." Her words hung heavy between us, fragile, full of guilt, and impossible to ignore. "You needed to feel seen," I repeated. "And you thought another man's attention would fix that." She looked down, tears sliding down her face. "You don't understand," she whispered. "You've been distant. You come home exhausted. You barely talk." I felt invisible. Invisible. The word echoed inside me, not as an excuse, but as a painful truth neither of us could deny. That word lingered in my mind, sharp, cruel, and painfully ironic. I had spent years trying to give her everything she ever dreamed of. The house she picked, the vacations she wanted, even that little bakery she always talked about but never had the courage to open. I helped make it all real. Yet somehow, I was the one who made her feel unseen. "Do you know what that letter said?" I asked her. She shook her head, barely meeting my eyes. "Then let me tell you." I took a deep breath. It said, "I hope the man sitting across from you can give you what I couldn't: honesty without guilt, attention without lies. Because I can't keep loving someone who saves her smiles for another man." Her face broke. "Ethan, please," she whispered through tears. I made a mistake. It didn't mean anything. I gave her a faint, tired smile. That's just it, Claire. It always means something. Every text, every excuse, every half-truth, they all meant something. She started to cry then, the kind of deep, aching cry that comes when you realize it's too late. People think closure comes with shouting, slamming doors, broken plates. But the truth is quieter. It's two people sitting in silence, both realizing love alone can't repair what's already been destroyed. I stood and said softly, I've already moved out. The divorce papers are on the kitchen table. I hope you find whatever it is you were searching for. She didn't stop me. Maybe she knew it wouldn't change anything this time. Walking out of that hotel, I felt something strange, not joy, not relief, but peace. The kind that comes when the storm finally passes. I didn't hate her. I didn't even wish her pain. I just wanted to be free of the weight I'd carried for too long. The following weeks were quiet. Friends asked if I was okay, and I'd always say yes, because explaining the truth was harder. The truth was, I was learning how to exist again without her shadow in every room, every thought. Sometimes, late at night, I'd replay that scene in my head, her sitting at that restaurant, waiting for her lover, and instead being handed my letter by the waiter. I used to imagine her reaction. Shock, guilt, maybe regret. But in the end, it didn't matter. I didn't need to know. Life has a way of moving on in small, almost invisible steps. One morning, you wake up, make your own coffee, and realize it doesn't taste bitter anymore. You start to smile again, talk again, trust again, slowly, but sincerely. Months later, I ran into that same waiter by chance. He recognized me right away. Hey, you're the guy with the letter, right? He said. I laughed softly. Yeah, that was me. He shook his head, remembering. Man, I've never seen anyone go that pale before. She just froze. I nodded. I didn't need to hear any more. That was enough. Looking back now, I've learned something important. Strength doesn't always mean fighting for love. Sometimes, it means walking away from the one who stopped valuing your heart. So, let me ask you this. If you found out your partner was meeting someone behind your back, would you confront them face to face, or would you let silence speak for you? And before you go, if stories like this make you think, question, or feel something, hit subscribe, because every week, we explore more real stories that reveal just how fragile, complicated, and powerful human emotions truly are.